Everybody, Bryan Alvarez here on Wrestling Observer Live. We are here every day, Monday through Friday, noon Pacific 3 Eastern, Sunday 3 Pacific 6 Eastern, Saturday mornings with Jim Valley, 10 a.m. Pacific 1 Eastern, Sundays with Andrew Zarian. And it is a very busy Monday here on the show. We got a lot to talk about. It is a crazy week. Is it ever? All right, so here's what we got. We got a whole bunch of shows coming up, including Title Tuesday coming up. That's the Dynamite show. And that's coming up on Tuesday, head-to-head with the NXT versus TNA showdown. So both shows are going head-to-head, but once again, they've announced that Dynamite is going 2 hours and 30 minutes. So if you didn't have enough wrestling, well, you're going to get plenty tomorrow. 4.5 hours on Tuesday night. No Dynamite on the Wednesday. That's going to be a Collision taping. So that, at this point, is what's going on. We'll give you lineups for both shows. They've announced a lot of things. We've also got Raw coming up tonight. 4 matches announced for the show. It is the go-home show for Perth. The Crown Jewel show, which is coming up on Saturday. This weekend is busy as we've got Crown Jewel, Bound for Glory, and New Japan King of Pro Wrestling, which has the Takeshita versus Zack Sabre match. We've got news on John Cena's final opponent. The name is out. Of course, things could always change, but we'll tell you about that here, as well as a new match announced for Crown Jewel, which has not been announced yet, but will be soon. The Rock's Smashing Machine, kind of flopping. We'll talk about Bronson Reed's contract and Laredo Kid's contract and Cedric Alexander's contract and Santos Escobar's contract, and we'll just keep going. Maybe we'll have time for shows. Who knows? A lot to get into. Back in a moment. Wrestling Observer Live. Just a quick note before this free video. If you click like and subscribe, I'd be very thankful.
A special guest, a returning guest, Kenny Omega. How's it going?
It's going well.
You were our most popular guest ever since the days of Bruno Sammartino, who was our previous most popular guest.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
Tell us a little bit, I guess, about like just the recovery from everything that you went through.
Told everyone beforehand, I said, hey guys, like, look, I don't know what's wrong with me. Maybe there's a flu going around. I might have COVID again or something, but I really don't feel reliable right now. I feel like I could just keel over and have to go into the fetal position, because when these pains hit, it's really bad. I said, I look at myself in the mirror. I said, I feel like really pale, really blue. It was like a heating pad or meant for like a shoulder injury. But I was just kind of like clutching onto it, like backstage. And I'm like, oh, and I was kind of doing like the old Mankind, you know, when he was sitting in the corner and you kind of like rock back and forth. I'm doing that with this device. And they said, yeah, do you mind coming back and just being prepared to stay in the hospital for quite a while? And I'd said, if that's what we need, then that's what we'll do. And I said, I'll pack a bag, like a little gym bag, and I'll head to you guys tomorrow, like first thing. They said, no, like you need to come now. And I said, oh, come on now. It's like, I just got home. Like, at least let me, like, I'm kind of in pain and stuff. Is it okay if I just rest, take it easy, and then show up? And they're like, well, we don't want to like worry you or anything, but you could be at risk of dying. So like, you need to come in. Okay, all right.
Man.
Case closed. I'll be right there.
Man.
So yeah, and then that sort of was the start of a bit of a process. And they had said, hey, have no expectation. Just go into this thing, into your recovery, being happy with any positive improvement. And that actually helped to hear that. You know, not to be too hard on myself or to beat myself up over not seeing immediate improvement. I got myself into a position where I felt like, yeah, maybe I can do this again. And the Tokyo Dome show came and went, and I was extremely happy with it. And I thought like, well, if that's the last one ever for me, then boy, I'm satisfied with that. And I'm always very thankful that when I have a performance that I feel does not disappoint fans, or myself, it's something to hang my hat on. So that's where I'm at right now, I guess.
Back on the show, Bryan Alvarez here, Wrestling Observer Live. Filthy Tom Lawler is joining us here today. And we got a lot to get into. What are you doing over there?
I'm all tangled up, just like the world of professional wrestling always is.
God, I can't even do the opening segment. It's just like I try and then I get lost. There's just so much stuff going on. So, very quickly, Raw is tonight. It's Becky Lynch versus Maxine Dupree. Lyra versus Roxanne.
What?
Lyra versus Roxanne. Becky versus Maxine. Yeah, it's happening. CM Punk will make an appearance and Roman Reigns kicks off the show. This is the Raw go-home for Perth, which is Saturday, okay?
Brother, I got to tell you, this earlier start time for Raw is killing me.
It's not happening tonight.
Is it on the same time or is it on even earlier? Is it on right now?
I think it's on at 8 tonight. I think it's on at 8 from now on, except I think there's 2 dates coming up. I forget the dates that are scheduled to be 7 o'clock. But whatever you want to say about formulas and everything for the Raw ratings, the actual numbers that Netflix gives every week, which whether they're real or fake, I don't know, these 7 o'clock shows have died. So I would not be surprised if they move it back to 8 o'clock and we never see 7 o'clock again.
I would actually prefer it.
But I think tonight is 8 o'clock. So then we've got NXT versus TNA tomorrow. And as I predicted here on this program, they have added Joe Hendry as referee for the men's Survivor Series match and Jordan Grace as referee for the women's because they skate the line, they're unbiased. So Team NXT is Ricky Saints, Trick Williams, Miles Bourne, and Javon against Mike Santana, Frankie Kazarian, Moose, and Leon Slater. Team NXT women is JC Sol Ruka, Jada, and Lola Vice versus Kalani, The Inspiration, who are the new Knockouts Tag Team Champions, and Mara Sade. Then we've got NXT Tag Team Champions Dark State versus TNA Tag Team Champions the Hardys, title for title, all belts
God.
on the line.
Please.
Yeah.
I've not since the 90s have I wanted the Hardys to win a match so badly.
And then we've got Ethan Page against Mustafa Ali for the North American title. So that's the NXT show. Going head-to-head with Title Tuesday, which, in fact, has almost no title matches on it. That guy, by the way, mad at me on Twitter. I'm still laughing about that one. He was sure that the Brodito match was for the titles, and I was wrong.
Well, rightfully so. He should be sure.
I wasn't.
Now, I do actually
He yelled at me for no reason.
I do like the stipulation, at least, but not on Title Tuesday. You could have done it on any other show, right? That could have been on Collision. But Title Tuesday, you get a non-title tag match.
Well, our 2 title matches are 2...
Why did they should have just done the women's tag title tournament on Title Tuesday.
They probably could have. And it is a 2.5-hour show. You could have done the women's tag title tournament if you wanted to. But instead, the 2 title matches, please, keep calm. We have got Mercedes Moné against a local wrestler from Florida, which I still believe is going to be Izzy, because that famous moment where Mercedes made Izzy cry was apparently 10 years prior to the day. And Tony likes those anniversaries. I don't know for sure. But the other massive title match, get your bets in now. Kyle Fletcher will be defending the TNT title against Kyle O'Reilly. We've also got Orange Cassidy. I swear to God. We got Orange Cassidy versus Pac, which is not for a title. We got the Demand versus the Hurt Syndicate in a street fight, which is not for a title. We have Jon Moxley and Ishii, which should be freaking awesome, but it's not for a title. We have Jurassic Express in action, not for a title. We have Samoa Joe and Hangman Page face-to-face, which will be for a title on a different date. And we have Brodito versus Okada and Takeshita, not in a title match. However, it is a double Jeopardy match. So if either Okada or Takeshita gets pinned, I guess Okada has to defend his titles against whoever did it. And if Okada and Takeshita win, they will get a tag title shot, not on Title Tuesday. You guys got all that? All right. Because I'm totally lost. And then we got Collision. This is on Wednesday, taped, but will not air Wednesday. It will air this weekend. Because what they really need to do is air this show this weekend. Kota Ibushi versus Josh Alexander. Max Caster and Anthony Bowens versus Big Bill and Brian Keith. God help me. Eddie Kingston versus Mortos. Chris Statlander, Tony Storm, and Harley versus the Triangle of Madness. FTR and Megan Bain versus Jet Speed and Willow Nightingale and Ty J in action. If anybody can explain to me a logical reason why this Collision Homecoming show doesn't just air on Wednesday, I would love to hear it.
It's preempted by the NHL.
Oh, that's right. That's why. Oh, that's right. That's why.
So-
Okay, you got me. Why
Yeah.
not Thursday then? This show's going to die this weekend.
Yeah, I agree.
Well, then we got the go-home show for Bound for Glory on Thursday. Joe Hendry, Eric Young, no DQ. Mustafa Ali versus JDC. Matt Cardona versus Ryan Nemeth. Trick Williams appears, and Leon Slater appears. SmackDown has Sami Zayn's Open Challenge, the best thing on any show. Damian Priest, Aleister Black, Last Man Standing.
Oh, you'll change your mind once there's a EO and Asuka segment tonight.
That's possible.
And that'll be the best thing on any show.
That's possible. I said that was
Because
the
I
best.
just had
hold
to
on.
read.
I said that was the best storyline.
That's fine. You just said the best thing a second ago.
Well, yeah,
And
this is the best thing.
I woke up and I had to read that Sami Zayn. You guys are saying Sami Zayn's having the best match on every show. Not when Io Sky's wrestling, baby.
I said his entire career he's always had the best match on every show. And Io
Well, now
Sky is on a different show. So, in
Now-
fact, I'm not
now-
wrong. Anyway, then SmackDown, we got the Sami Zayn and Joe Gacy and Dexter Lumis against Montez Ford and Angelo Dawkins for the tag titles. That better be a title change. This has run
You don't
its
think they're going to
course.
split up?
This has run its course. They just split up Miz and Mello, dude. They can't do 2 straight weeks of split ups.
Oh, they can't.
Nah, I think they're teasing a split up and they're actually going to win the titles.
Didn't they just do that over the summer?
I think they
did.
I think
they
they
did. And
did.
then they lost them back
I think they did.
in the ladder match, didn't they?
I think so.
Oh my god! They're just gonna run back the same exact.
I guess you could
storyline.
break up 2 straight teams on 2 straight weekends.
Can we break up the Wyatts?
That's the one that should. Well, I don't know. What are they going to do separately?
Well,
Then we got-
I would like to see Uncle Howdy and the Vintner.
Well,
be
yeah,
the
they
tag
should be
team
defending
coming
the
out of
tag
there.
titles. Julian Kiana versus Tiffany Stratton and Stephanie Vaquer also on the show. So, for Crown Jewel, we have some breaking news here. We have got Cody and Seth for the men's Crown Jewel title. We have Tiffany and Stephanie for the women's Crown Jewel title. John Cena versus AJ Styles. Rhea Ripley and Io versus the Kabuki Warriors. And it has not been announced, but Bronson Reed will not be facing Randy Orton after pinning him on SmackDown. It appears that it will be Bronson Reed versus Roman Reigns. By far the biggest match of Bronson's career, and it's in Perth. So,
Awesome.
yeah. You know, I don't remember exactly what it was, but do you remember when Bronson, something happened?
Killed me during the G1. Yeah.
Did he?
Yeah.
He
F5
had
me onto the barricade.
He had a really, really big match that was going to be taking place on a show in Perth, and I can't remember what happened.
Broke his foot.
No, I don't think it was when he got hurt. I think something happened to the other guy, and so, like, the match was never announced, but, like, I think that they were going to do it, and then, so anyway, he had this big match, and, like, didn't end up taking place, so I think this is kind of, like, sort of a make good for him, is what I feel. I don't know that for sure, but something definitely happened with Perth last time. And then Bound for Glory, Trick and Mike Santana for the TNA title. Title change, everybody. I don't care what y'all think. Hardys versus Team 3D in a tables match.
Oh, is that going to be for both titles?
I
Are we going to
think
get
so.
Bully Ray as NXT champion?
It could happen. Kalani against Indy Hartwell Knockouts title. Leon Slater, Javon Evans for the X Division title. Frankie and Steve Macklin for the international title. A hardcore war. Call your shot gauntlet match. And Tessa Blanchard, she's back, against Gia Miller. We got so much more after the break. Observer Live. Just a quick note before this free video. If you click like and subscribe, I'd be very thankful. We reviewed this show as recently as 2021.
Impact's full 2005 Spike TV debut, episode 1, October 1st, 2005. We watched TNA Impact, October 1st, 2005. So we begin with the James Earl Jones voice guy. So it's dramatic TNA voiceover guy. Shane Douglas is an outstanding backstage interviewer. I had forgotten how much I loved Shane Douglas as a backstage interviewer. Wait, there's something going on in the back.
Right.
And we go from the back to the back. Something's never changed. What? There's a commotion in the back? Can we get a camera there? I'm like, oh, God. I'm already sick of this song. There are episodes we'll probably get to where I swear to God they play this 8 times.
I hated the Canadian Destroyer. Like, this was like everyone's favorite move during this period. And I hated this move. When I see a guy like Penta do a springboard into a destroyer, Penta does a springboard into a destroyer. But the problem is that PD stands completely still.
Yes.
And then he does the move. To stand there with someone in powerbomb position, it only works if you enter into it via some sort of maneuver. But when you run, there's at least the illusion that the run or the dive or whatever starts the momentum into the destroyer.
Shane put his ear to the door trying to spy on them.
Yes.
Like a creep. And he drops his head and his ear down to the door to try to spy on them. I love it. 3 Alive Crew are that perfect mix of sports and entertainment. So we're told they are the perfect mix of sports and entertainment. They will be kept in a room without food, water, or light. They are locked alone in a dark room with no food, no water, and no light. Do you know what I forgot about TNA that I do like?
This I gotta hear.
The Abyss song. So I had forgotten one of my favorite things about TNA this time. The Abyss song. Go, go Abyss, go, go Abyss. That's awesome. Go, go Abyss, go, go Abyss. But he comes out to his god-awful TNA music, the horrible Dr. Dre toy piano ripoff. Dr. Dre had a hit song here that started with a toy piano over a cool beat. TNA did their best to steal this idea. They failed.
That's not bad. I didn't even get through the whole weekend. I took an entire segment. We didn't even get through the whole weekend. And we didn't even do like a lot of predictions. I do predict Kyle beats Kyle. That's my prediction. We also had King of Pro Wrestling on
A horrendous segue.
October 13th.
One of the worst.
Brother, I don't
I've
got
ever
time to
heard.
banter. We got too much news. Zack Sabre Jr. and Takeshita for the world title. Who do you think's winning that one?
Takeshita.
Yeah, you're right. Gabe Kidd and Yoda Tsuji for the global title. This is a title Tuesday, except it's on Sunday or Monday. Yuto Ice and Oscar against Shota Umino and Yuya Uemura.
Bumba
Tag titles.
Clot. Big up. Let's get high, brothers.
Never
Utah
open weight.
Ice
Never
in the
open-
house.
Would you shut up? Bolton Oleg against Evil. Do you realize that I think at this point, every last single solitary human on Earth refers to him as Bolton Oleg, except Dave, who at this point, he's all in. This is like Coco Ware. He will write Oleg Bolton until the day he dies. Phantasmo against Tanahashi. Goto, Yoshihashi, and Yo versus Ryohei Oiwa, Hartley Jackson, and Kosei Fujita. Drill Maloney and Sonata, no DQ, no countout. And Shingo, Hiromu, and Titan against David Finlay, Taiji Ishimori, and Clark Connors. That's the week. That's the week, everybody.
That sounds like one heck of a wrestling show.
Are you guys ready to start watching some wrestling?
Oh, speaking of which, a little bit of news on the New Japan front, which we might as well get to right now, but your main man, Dookie, defeated Desperado
Yeah, he did.
for the
the
junior
Doki
heavyweight
Choki.
title.
With a bunch of interference and crap, I hear.
Oh,
Got
big
rave
surprise.
reviews.
Coming from the House of Torture, who, by the way, I love. Big fan of the House of Torture. I wish that they'd take my application a little bit more seriously. Maybe I'll have to talk to my boy Yujiro, the Tokyo pimp, and see if he can hook it up.
Okay. We got some more breaking news here from the front page of WrestlingObserver.com, subscriber exclusive. But it's out now, so you'll all know. Do you know who the final opponent for John Cena is? Have you looked yet?
Yeah.
Gunther has been chosen as the final opponent for John Cena, December 13th, Washington, D.C. Multiple sources over the last 2 days have confirmed the name. WWE internal listing for the Saturday night main event at this point lists that as the only match on the show. 2 sources have confirmed the latest plan is for a tournament to be announced, possibly on the air by Paul Levesque, with 2 wrestlers vying to be Cena's last opponent, top wrestlers. Multiple have confirmed, however it reaches a conclusion, Gunther was the person chosen for the match. So,
Well, I mean, it follows a pretty, set and tried and true pattern of the big baby face, and especially in this case, John Cena representing the USA in Washington, D.C. against the foreign monster, the Ring General. Gunther,
hey man, I gotta
it writes
say,
itself, man.
not only that, but like if I'm John Cena and I got one match left and I want it to be a good one, I'm working John Cena babyface against Gunther. I don't know if it's going to be as good as that, was it the Cody match at SummerSlam that was like, he just totally turned it around? But I mean...
No, there was I think the previous pay-per-view match that he had before that one was pretty good too, but I don't remember exactly what it was.
We'll see what happens, but I'm quite bullish on that particular match right there. You know, this actually has nothing to do with wrestling, but I should ask you about it because you're a former UFC star. I won't say superstar, but... So, remember how, wasn't it the White House UFC show was going to be on July 4th?
I believe that was the plan.
Okay. Well, and granted, this is not political, but I think that even his biggest supporters would admit that sometimes Donald Trump says things that might not be true. He did a speech, and he said it's going to be June 14th, which is his birthday. Is he making that up?
Well, no. I mean, I believe there's going to be a big celebration for, what would it be, the bicentennial? I don't even know what you'd call it. The 250th year of the United States as a country, and maybe it's taking place all summer.
Well, I don't know, but he said the UFC
maybe
fights
they're
in
gonna
the White House.
Maybe they're going to hold an event for each day that the different states were looking to ratify their state constitutions. Who knows?
Well, he said on June 14th next year, we're going to have a big UFC fight at the White House on the grounds of the White House. That's what he said. So, we'll see. Nothing's been officially announced by UFC, but it appeared that the date was July 4th. Now, I don't know
Trump says June 14th.
Yes, he does.
Yeah, well, Conor McGregor claimed that he was on the show. He said, "It's a peculiar one, this one. I'm doing the negotiations for the country of Ireland along with the USA."
What in God's name accent was that? What was that?
A limey?
God, that was horrible. Horrible. Smashing Machine. Have you seen it?
More Tylenol. I have seen the original documentary.
So you didn't see the new one either, unlike everyone.
No,
else?
you want to know why? Because I was busy. Yeah, just like everybody else was this weekend doing something else. I was busy doing commentary for MLW Saturday night at MLW Slaughterhouse.
I think they should have released the movie on like a Tuesday. I think this whole weekend thing, there's just too much competition.
Came out on Thursday.
The show, the movie.
Which may be another unfamiliar day to you.
It might be an unfamiliar day. I don't know much about Thursdays. $6 million on opening weekend. It cost $50 million to make it. The first week is always biggest. It's basically doing what the Von Erich movie did. And this is with The Rock starring in this film. And it wasn't like it was a small open. 3,345 venues. It did $6 million. It had been predicted to do up to $15 million. And it's lower. It's the lowest open for a rock movie ever. It even beat, as in it did worse than, Faster, which did $8.5 million, which was not adjusted for inflation. So it did much worse than that movie. So 74% on Rotten Tomatoes.
He got smashed by the machine that is Taylor Swift.
Yep.
At the box office.
$33 million.
When back in the day, Heath Herring buried kicks and then ground and pound into poor Mark Kerr.
That One Battle After Another that I was talking about did $11 million. So maybe they just got all murdered by Taylor Swift and they'll all do better next weekend. I guess we'll see. But I've gotten, it's funny because like all of the critics are raving about this movie and they're raving about like The Rock's performance. But what I've heard from people that like saw the original and followed MMA and know everything about this whole thing, they're not as impressed. So I guess we'll have to check it out. And
I mean, from what I understand, it's word for word, pretty much scene for scene from the original documentary. But hey, I was told it's good. I was told I need to go see it. And that's by somebody who has very similar interests to me in the game of professional wrestling, who I will not name.
Who would that be?
Just move on. I just told you I'm not going to say who it was.
You're a legit idiot. All right.
A legit idiot? Is that what you called me?
You heard
That's a
me.
pretty good term.
You heard me. That's a legit idiot.
Yeah, thank you.
A legit
I
idiot.
gathered that.
How has Bailey not stolen that yet? Bailey, I give you permission, but I want, if you put it on a shirt, I do want a cut of legit idiot. All right. What else do we have here? Laredo Kid. Got a lot of contract notes. Laredo Kid is no longer with TNA Wrestling.
He's grown up.
I guess
finally.
He's still a kid, but he's moved on. That's what kids do.
I thought, no, wasn't he just Laredo?
Actually, yeah.
In AAA?
Well, it's weird. I think for a while in TNA, he was just Laredo. But then when he went anywhere else, he was Laredo Kid. But whatever.
Is he even from Laredo?
I don't know. You can look it up on Wikipedia. Cedric Alexander, who I thought just signed, his deal's already up. Apparently, he signed a short-term deal. He debuted June 20th, and I guess he must have just signed a 3-month deal or whatever. So, I don't know. Maybe he will end up in the Hurt Syndicate. Who knows? But his deal is up. And then Santos Escobar is negotiating, but we are told things don't necessarily look promising. So he may be gone.
Maybe Conor McGregor is doing the negotiations for him.
Yeah. I guess word came out that Bronson Reed re-signed, which, that's news. That guy would be a maniac to go anywhere else. He's one half of the top heel group on Raw and getting pushed hard. So, obviously, he's sticking around.
They should play up him being like one of the only people to pin Okada over the past 5 years, 10 years.
Yeah. And then we got to talk about Mercedes. I didn't realize this until Lance brought it up. Because I've said many times, like, people comparing this to Ultimo Dragon, it's like most people can't even name probably 9 of the belts she has right now, maybe 8, because I guess she has 9. But do you know what belt she has?
The TBS title.
Yep.
The Rev Pro women's title,
Yeah.
which was combined with the Eve women's title. Is that right?
I don't know.
Something like that.
Anyway, she's got the AWTBS title, the CMLL. I guess I'll do it after the break. You guys think during the break if you can name all 9 of her titles. Back in a moment, Observer Live. Just a quick note before this free video. If you click like and subscribe, I'd be very thankful. Actually, the most real person on the show, and I felt bad for this guy. And a lot of people have gotten on Bruce Pritchard, but I don't really actually blame Bruce for this.
Bruce did nothing.
No, poor Abyss is the agent for Seth Rollins and CM Punk on the Netflix debut, okay? And the story is that, Bruce Pritchard goes, even though this is Netflix and everybody thinks we have unlimited time, we don't. There is a cutoff here, okay? And so he wants everyone to hit their time cues. And I did see people, on the internet that are like, oh man, what's Bruce talking about? There is no hard out. It's Netflix. You could go all night if you wanted. Listen, guys. If you want to get mad at Bruce for whatever you can, but there is supposed to be a hard out for Netflix.
Does
okay?
somebody think Bruce
I don't know
Pritchard
why
is in control of Netflix?
But the point is, I don't know why. I don't care, but there is, okay? Whatever you want to say. So anyway, poor Chris Park, Abyss, is the agent for this match. And these two dudes are going long. And as soon as they start going long, Abyss is petrified. And he's trying to tell him to hurry up, and he's trying to tell him what to cut, but at the same time he's like, I'm sorry, Bruce, I'm sorry. They're cutting out the Anaconda Vice. Yeah. He's thinking it's gonna get fired on the spot. And Bruce isn't actually even being really, he's just nothing we can do about it, It's
yeah.
He's it's not like, he's clearly not happy, but it's not like he's mad at Abyss. But he's not going to say anything to the guys either. You can just tell he's just he's quietly stewing because they can't just get this thing done. But man, Chris Park is I'm sorry, sir. I'm sorry. They're going to the finish right now, sir. And he's petrified. And then
he turned into Joseph Park.
Oh yeah. And then when it's over, he's like, oh, I'm sorry, sir. We tried to cut as much as we could, and Bruce is like, dude, it's okay. There's nothing we can do about it. But and then he turns to Regal and he's like, yeah, I'm sorry. And Regal goes, it's not your fault, dude. You did your best. Just be happy with what you did. And Chris Park is like, I am. But you could see he's petrified. And I'm like, is this every day of this poor guy's life? Oh my God, I couldn't do this. But I felt so bad for him because he was so worried, and it's not his fault. He's so trying to do his best, and I don't know, man. It was that was a real moment. That was kind of sad to watch. That he was just so worried when he was doing his best, dude. And if you want to get mad at somebody, you can get mad at Punk and Seth Rollins. They're the ones that went long. Alrighty. Anyway, these are the belts she has. TBS title, CMLL women's title, Rev Pro undisputed title, which, by the way, was not, the Eve title has nothing to do with that right now, apparently, according to the chat. EWA women's title in Austria, the PTW women's title from Poland, the Best Ya women's title from Italy, the Queen of Southside title. That's the one that was merged with the Rev Pro title. And the Discovery Wrestling Scottish women's title. Okay, so that's... Here's what's funny, dude. She wants 10, okay? I just rattled off 8, okay? But of those 8, one of them is actually only one title. The Rev Pro and the Queen of Southside is one title. but she's counting that she's carrying both belts. So she's not at 9, she's at 8, like if we're really counting. And then on top of that, she's counting the Owen Hart title. That's not even a title that's defended. That's a trophy. So that shouldn't count. So really, instead of being at 9, she's actually at 7. Because the Owen shouldn't count as a title. It's a trophy you won. You don't defend it.
Brian.
Yes.
How many of the Ultimo Dragons titles could you name?
Well, now, none.
Even then.
But back then, there were so many fewer titles back then that these were actually
apparently not
far more prestigious titles than
okay.
this title. It's not even a title because it's merged with another title.
Let me list these off. IWGP Junior Heavyweight title.
I think that's pretty big.
NWA World Junior Heavyweight title.
Sure.
Cool. War International Junior Heavyweight title.
War was big, dude.
British Commonwealth Junior title.
Big. The British Commonwealth Junior
WWF Light Heavyweight title, which was an afterthought, never defended.
It was used down in Mexico.
UWA World Junior Light Heavyweight
big
title.
in Mexico.
WWA World Junior Light Heavyweight title.
Yep.
NWA World Welterweight title.
These are all much bigger than the Poland's women's title. I realize your wife is Polish. That doesn't matter. That doesn't make this belt meaningful, Tom.
They're some of the strongest fighters in all the world. They had the UFC champion for years. You want a young Jacek coming out of that country. You're going to say they don't have great competitors?
I didn't say that. Now.
Sorry that they're not fighting spirit like Mexico, buddy. Arriba!
Whoa. Where are we going now? That's not right.
You're going down.
How about this? Can you name everyone in the TNA Hall of Fame? Didn't think so.
I can give it a shot.
Go for it.
And fail. Gail Kim?
Nope. Actually, she is. Sorry.
Mickey James?
She's going to go in this year.
I'm just going to start off with the ones that are calling out Dave Meltzer. We also have Sting.
Yeah.
AJ Styles.
Nope.
No. Christian. The Dudleys.
I thought Christian was in. Didn't they do that weird thing where Christian showed up and looked like he was... But I don't see him on the list. Team 3D is there. What the heck is the story with Christian?
The announcer. Gosh.
Mike Tenay and Don West.
Yeah, Don West. I'm sorry. That's what I was looking for. And I don't know. Elix Skipper.
All right, we got Sting, Kurt Angle, Team 3D, Jeff Jarrett and Earl Hebner, Gail Kim, Abyss, Ken Shamrock, Awesome Kong, Raven, Mike Tenay and Don West, Tracy Brooks, Rhino, Bob Ryder, and this year, Mickey James and the beautiful people are going in. What happened with Christian? Remember when they borrowed him or something?
Yeah, maybe he just
I think it was the other way around. Maybe he was in TNA and WWE borrowed him. I need to look this up. Can't remember. All right. Anything else before we get to the TV? What did you think of SmackDown and Collision this weekend?
Hey, I enjoyed SmackDown.
SmackDown was good.
I thought it was good. Are we going to do a full review? Or?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay. We started off with Cody Rhodes, the undisputed champion, coming out in front of the Cincinnati crowd. He was immediately interrupted by one Oracle, the Paul Heyman, flanked by Bronson and Braun. Randy Orton appeared to back up Cody. Heyman tried to stir dissent between those two, said that it's a prophecy that the two of them cannot last together, and dropped the mic and left. Backstage, we had The Miz approach Carmelo about letting him get pinned by the Street Profits last week. Mello was adamant that this team is done, but Miz still trying to hold on to the youngster. This led to Sami Zayn's open challenge, where Carmelo Hayes came out to answer it, but he was attacked by The Miz. Aleister Black then came out, took the opportunity for himself, leveled Zayn with lots of kicks and knees, left him in control for the early portion of the match. Zayn sent Black to the floor, had a great Acai moonsault, but Black got back in control with a German suplex. Sammy missed the Haluva kick. Black hit a great Meteora off the top for 2, set up for the Black Mass, but Damian Priest walked through the crowd, got near the corner. This distracted Aleister Black long enough for Sami Zayn to land a Haluva kick and the Blue Thunder Bomb to get the win. Then Damian Priest yanked Aleister Black from the ring, launched him through the announce table with a razor's edge. And I thought Black looked great here. Pretty solid, fundamental, simple, effective kicks and knees with his offense. And thought it was a damn good match. Later on, Damian Priest challenged him to a last man
He's pretty good, but you know who's
match.
awesome? Sami Zayn. This guy's incredible. Absolutely incredible. If they keep this title on this guy, people are going to look back on this one like that John Cena U.S. title open challenge. Because this guy's having way better matches. Although the John Cena matches were pretty good. But holy smokes, this guy's great.
This dude, he is going to get annihilated by Obafemi.
That's your prediction?
That's my prediction. But until then, I think we should see some awesome matches out of him.
There has to be somebody who has a finish which is a counter to the Blue Thunder Bomb. Because he's changed his finish to the Blue Thunder Bomb. And he didn't do it for, like, sometimes people change their finish because they can't do their old finish. He still does the kick in the corner, but his new finish is the Blue Thunder Bomb. And this guy's no idiot. There's like a method to this madness, and I'm trying to figure out how is this playing into him losing the title. Because it has to. It's got to be a counter to the Blue Thunder Bomb.
He ain't picking up Obafemi for it.
No.
So
that's what I think.
There's your counter right there. Zarya and Sol Ruka were approached to be part of the Secret Service. Instead, Nick Aldis made a tag match between the Secret Service and Zaruka, which Zaruka won after Chelsea went for the unprettier. She was pushed into the corner instead. Sol hit the Soul Snatcher, picked up the win. This is a attempt to heat them up so they can face Charlotte and Alexa for the titles. Charlotte and Alexa were backstage with Kathy Kelly after the match. They said they were impressed. Charlotte tried to get Alexa to woo, but she wouldn't do it, and Kathy Kelly did it instead. I liked it. Nick Aldis moderated a contract signing between Tiffany Stratton and Stephanie Vaquer ahead of their match at Crown Jewel in Perth this weekend. On one end, you had Tiffany speaking exactly how we would imagine a robot in WWE coming out and cutting a promo. And then you had the exact opposite with Stephanie Vaquer barely being able to speak English, which you would never see on WWE television even years ago. They were cordial with each other despite being competitive. However, Tiffany went to leave. Julia and Kiana James attacked her. They beat her up and left her laying. I thought it was pretty funny that Stephanie just stood there in the middle of the ring. She's like, I guess I'll let this happen. Then Kiana offered her services to Stephanie as she and the crowd were ambivalent at best. Then Tiffany made a quick comeback and they cleared the ring.
That Tiffany promo, dude.
Sucked.
Oh, my God. She speaks fluent English and did a significantly worse promo than the woman who speaks virtually no English. Just mechanical, scripted.
Whatever she could have come up with on her own, I guarantee would have come off better than this promo did.
Yes.
This was paint by the numbers WWE Championship promo speak. We then had, this is for you, buddy. This is a Bryan Alvarez segment. Rey Fenix and Javon Evans taking on, I believe it's Los Garza, but Michael Cole can't get it right. So I'm not sure I'm going to be bothered to either. I'm not sure if it's Garzas. They're awesome regardless. Both teams are awesome. Both teams showed off with dive sequences at the beginning, ending with a big taker dive from Javon before we had some advertisements paid for by the following. Then they got the heat on Evans. And I've noticed they did this in the main event too, but they get double heat in like every tag match now. Have you noticed that, Brian? Been a switch in the way that the matches are worked.
Well, I mean, sometimes.
No.
Yes.
No.
In
Watch
90%.
The past month or two,
yes,
it's been
in
evident in every
90%
match.
of the cases, we do the double heat. Although we did have a match on this show where we didn't even have a comeback. So I like that.
They got the heat on Evans, did what I've noticed. All right. Now I'm just reading like I'm a robot. Javon got a hot tag. He looked great flying everywhere. A blind tag from Phoenix led to a kick off the ropes from him, followed by Javon leaping over him connecting with an OG cutter, and then Phoenix sealed the deal with the Mexican muscle buster. Oh, yeah. And then we had Bronson and Braun take on Cody Rhodes and Randy Orton in the main event. Really enjoyed this match, too. I like watching Braun get in there and work with some of the veterans like Cody and Orton, see what he can do, see him kind of learning on the fly, and he looks damn good doing it. They did another double heat segment, as I mentioned here. Randy was backdropped on the announce table, then they beat up Cody. Eventually, Braun left off the apron, crashed through the barricade with Cody, which was awesome. Randy draping DDT'd Bronson. Paul Heyman climbed to the top rope. He was going to come off with a tsunami, I guess, to take out Randy. But this distracted the ref long enough for Seth Rollins to run in, give Randy Orton a stomp, setting up Bronson Reed, landing the tsunami, getting the big pinfall over the Viper. A huge win for Bronson Reed. And afterwards, much to the dismay of Paul Heyman, Seth Rollins showed complete disregard to Heyman's advice. Heyman's telling him, whatever you're thinking, don't go back to that ring. Don't do it. Rollins pushes him aside, runs back in to stomp Cody.
Legit.
But he's met with a crossroads, and Heyman's holding back Bronson and Braun as Cody stands tall to end the show.
Gotta learn a lesson sometime. I thought that was a very good show. This SmackDown, remember for a while it was just like absolutely atrocious?
The past couple weeks.
It's been better. And it was significantly better than Collision, which I was thinking about this because Lance subbed for Vinny last night, and you know, he made a comment and he was right. And that is that it just feels like you're watching a house show. It feels like there's a major AEW show every Wednesday, Tuesday this week, and then over the weekend they run a house show, and we all get to watch it if we choose to. That's what Collision feels like. I mean, there's never like any big time angles. It's always a C show at best. This
what
week,
show
it was a D show.
You know what show I used to love watching when I was younger?
What's that?
WCW Saturday Night. And it was much in the same vein as that. You're watching a 3-hour house show, but hey, everybody's tastes are a little bit different, aren't they, Brian?
You know, Tom, they really are. Back in a moment, Observer Live. Check out this free video and make sure you hit like and subscribe.
If Truth didn't have the best weekend in this company, then Mr. Iguana did.
Oh, yeah, this guy is over, dude.
We'll get to him in the Worlds Collide review, but
He's got merch up on WWE shop.
he's going to make so much
He's got these
money.
kids that want to see more Mr. Iguana.
Yeah. So
His face paint is so funny.
I must stop you right here. It's not face
Oh,
paint.
would you stop?
It's head paint.
Yeah, it looks.
He paints his whole damn head.
It looks like he's gets held upside down and they just dunk his head in green paint.
Yes.
It's absolutely bizarre.
And when he's not wrestling, he wears the round silver spectacles.
Yes.
And
He
flicks
a
his
puppet.
tongue constantly.
Yes.
As an iguana would. And Del Toro and Octagon do whatever, and people are patient, but they don't care. And then Iguana tags in, and they are hyped. It took about 7 seconds to make himself my favorite luchador. He starts, I forget who he's in there with, but the guy offers a handshake, and so he licks it because he's an iguana, and then he gets hit with a shoulder tackle, or it's a chop. He takes a chop, he drops to his back, he sticks all 4 limbs straight in the air.
Yes.
He's playing dead like an iguana would. So then he brings in the puppet. I didn't get the puppet's name. I should have used it 50 times. But it's an iguana puppet that he thinks is real. Well,
already up on WWE shop.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Excellent.
You know if Harley Cameron's doll is on the AEW?
I do not know.
It's not.
Okay.
It's not.
Yeah.
Just throwing that out there.
So he starts doing spots with the puppet in his mouth. He lets the puppet try to get the pin. And amidst all the silliness, Conan says, you know this, Mr. Iguana, he's most popular with children.
I liked how as soon as the puppet started doing spots, Corey Graves goes, is that legal in Mexico? And without skipping a beat, Conan goes, yes.
Low on the list of things you will see in a Lucha Libre match, especially in AAA. So he starts using the puppet more as a weapon, or as a distraction, I should say. But it ends up with Lindsay Dorado getting a hold of this puppet. and he snaps, and he stomps the puppet, and he grabs the puppet, and he Spanish flies the puppet. This crowd is outraged. They're pissed. They're furious. But you know he's even more pissed and furious?
It got more heat than anything else. Maybe on the entire show,
Mr.
actually.
Goddamn Iguana.
They were
who's
furious.
Seething and his eyes are bugging out, and he snaps and just rips ass. He grabs his own lizard and is whipping these guys with it. And then they remember it's just a puppet and they stop selling.
This was a very, very fun match. I liked it a lot. And there's a lot to learn here about marketing.
Yeah.
We're on the show, Bryan Alvarez here, Wrestling Observer Live. Not Mike Sempervive, Filthy Tom. Is this really the anniversary of the death of Gorilla Monsoon?
Yeah. On this day in 1999, Robert James Gino Morella passed away. Heart failure due to diabetes at the age of 62.
You know, my
62.
Yeah, I know. My memories of Gorilla, it's always kind of been like up and down, you know what I mean? Because I remember when I was a kid, I watched Gorilla and Bobby, and I was always massively entertained. And then, you know, I got a little older, and then you start reading The Observer, and there's a lot of criticism for Gorilla because of the way he called the action, and then, you know, you're kind of like, you know, he's not wrong. He did always do that. And then, like, I rewatched some of this stuff, and it's like you rewatch it, and some days it's like, what is this guy saying? Like, golly. The guy might submit, like, make me believe or whatever. But then other days you just watch and it's like, nah, he was a perfect Gorilla Monsoon. I mean, he was just perfect in his role. So I go up and down depending on the show I watch.
Very similar to your feelings on Booker T.
Kind of. I'm more positive than negative on Booker. I think it's more like Vic. I'm very up and down on Vic.
Booker T is very over the top.
He is over the top. But I think that...
but I think he's been great on SmackDown.
Hey, you know, it's funny. I enjoy Booker T, and I know people that absolutely think this guy is the dirt worst. So it's
Not
well, they probably think we're the dirt worst, too. But anyway, we're out of here, everybody. I'll be back tonight with Dave. Tomorrow here on this show with Lance. We got a lot coming up, everybody. It's going to be a very busy week, so sign up at WrestlingObserver.com, Apple Podcast, YouTube, or Spotify. We'll talk to you next time, Wrestling Observer Live.